Hello everyone, welcome to today's video. Today I'll be going over my 8th match from the 2023 Midwest Classic. If you did not see my last video, I did end up winning my 7th match, and so that put my points for my team up to 7 points. So I was 7 wins, 0 losses so far in the event, so I was feeling pretty good. Overall, I was happy with my play, but some of the games definitely stuck out as I could play a lot better. So I still wanted to finish out the event, trying to play my best. And I'm going to have to against my 8th match opponent, who's a 3-dan, because this is going to be an even game. And this is the 3rd even game of the event. And so I'm going to have to really be on my best play in order to beat, in this case, Black in this game. But without further ado, let's jump in. And everything you see in the opening really comes down to preference. Like Black could approach the upper left, approach the lower left, fix the upper right even, but Black chooses to play here. And I will say in this case, it makes sense to fix the lower right, because if I get the next move, my approach to Black's lower right would be an extension from my lower left. And that generally is a good thing to get if you can get it, where if Black, let's say, plays a very standard joseki, I could play maybe something like this, really build the bottom, or even if I want to prioritize the bottom, play some move in the corner, but that's helping the bottom side. But this feels pretty good to get if you can get it. If you can get an approach, especially on a 3-4 stone, from one of your stones, that is a pretty nice formation or sequence you can get for yourself. So in this case, it is partially preference, but it also does make sense for Black to fix that. But so I approach, and then I play Shimari in the upper left. And again, lots of choices here. Here, I didn't want to get 3-3'd. I did not want to give Black a 3-3 invasion. So I wanted to fix the upper left, or play in the upper left. So Black approaches the lower left. So I, again, very standard joseki. And then Black extends. And then attach. And again, this comes down to personal preference, as I like, in this scenario, I see players like to play P18, which is totally fine. They like to connect back, and it makes sense. But for me, I like to play the cut here, allowing Black makes these exchanges first, but allowing Black to eventually play P18. And I mentioned this in, I believe it was my first game, why Black adds 2 extra stones to this corner. Even though you might feel like you're giving up extra stones, because White has to respond on the inside anyways, you don't lose that much. You lose a little bit on the right side here. But the idea with this is if you don't make these exchanges and you just descend, later, when White descends here, you don't get a sente way to prevent White from connecting. Whereas by making these exchanges, like Black did in the game, the idea is now you can Atari in sente, and that has prevented White's connection in sente. So that's the idea with that. But I extend back, or extend, and the idea is if Black goes elsewhere, I'm going to now pincer and threaten to connect under, but also isolating these upper right stones, especially with the weakness at P14. Whether I do this immediately or not is important to note, but I might do it immediately, honestly. It really just depends on where Black had went, like if Black had gone here. But Black invades here. And this is an option. I'm pausing for a second because I want to think about how I'm going to phrase this. But basically, I am happy when Black goes here, because let's imagine we go back. Let's say Black had gone here, right? And then I extend back, and then Black plays K17, which is a standard move. Again, disregard the rest of the board for a second. When your opponent plays, usually you'll see this, right? You'll see the high extension, 3-space extension, but sometimes you will see a low. Whenever somebody plays a low like this, I very much want to get D18, because when you get D18, this invasion works even better than normal. This invasion works even better than normal, because if you don't have this move, if Black wants to, Black can connect underneath or on top, depending on if you cut. If you cut off this stone, Black is going to connect. And generally, it's not super great because you don't get that many points, and black's outside is superior. And it doesn't matter which way you go. Black's going to Atari, or cut, Atari, and connect. And you really can't refute anything else. Like, you can't stand up here because black is just going to pull back, and same thing this way. Black's just going to pull back, and you can't win any semi-I here. But that changes when white gets this move. If black tries to connect under, white has a very nice sequence of Hane when black cuts, not to Atari. Again, this feels like the instinctual move, but black's just going to happily connect on top. You can now extend into the center, and this works perfectly with the D18 stone. Because if black captures, you're going to Atari, of course, and now you're cut black. And black's shape isn't even alive yet. So you're separating black. So before, black could just connect easily with this move, but now can't connect. Well, so what if black pulls back this way? Well, now that you have D18, you can pull back, and now you cannot play E18 because this is now an Atari. So this stone at D18 is helping white disconnect, and the key is to stand up. So this sequence here has been ingrained in my brain, right? And so whenever I can make this shape, I am happy. But notice in the game, black has given me that shape. By playing here, black has given me the shape that I want. And so I'm very happy here. So if black, again, to reiterate, again, the board position, the rest of the board doesn't really matter. The same sequence works. Is I'm going to stand up, and black has problems. Black cannot connect. So if black wants to play here, black can, but black needs to play a little lower. Black needs to play this move. The idea is both of these moves are threatening the same thing. They're threatening to connect under and invade the upper left corner. But so is this move. And this move prevents white from actually disconnecting. So when black goes here, this is still threatening. Like, let's say I prevent black from connecting underneath. Black can play into the 3-3. But if I prevent the 3-3, let's say even with the same move, black can connect under, and this is working. This is working because when white hanes play here, black can Atari and then Atari. And yeah, this would actually be quite annoying for white. It'd be actually quite annoying for white. Because if you connect, you're just dead. But if you Atari, it's a ko, and black can even just leave it for now. This is good enough for black. So yeah, this would be pretty nice. Even if you do this, same sort of things exist. So I think if black wants to play something, shouldn't be F17 because this just refutes black's connection, but it should be F18. And again, I talk about this quite a bit in my videos where you can connect shapes and use your shape knowledge from certain scenarios to help you in other scenarios. This shape here should be a shape you recognize, right? It's this shape. It's actually this shape here. If you can make this shape, this means you can connect, right? This move, for the most part, is considered connected. So if you could take this shape and copy and paste it somewhere else on the board, the same general sequences still work, whether you're on the 3rd line, you're on the 8th line, it doesn't matter. It still, for the most part, will work. So you should look out for shapes that you recognize and try to use them to your benefit. So again, if we look at the game, black is creating that shape. So that if white plays elsewhere, black is creating that shape to connect. That is the same exact shape, just copy and paste it elsewhere. So this is the value of shape knowledge, is if you can not only memorize the shapes, but apply them in scenarios that you maybe haven't thought of before or considered before, that's when you can really use your shape knowledge. That's the value of knowing your shapes. So yeah, black can play this one. If black wanted to do something. Again, white will probably just fix, let black connect under, and then go elsewhere. Maybe later, when white has co-threats, maybe then white will fight this ko. But for now, black went there and allowed me to descend. And so I don't know if black knew specifically But black attaches on top. And so I Hane and Atari. And connect. So while black didn't play the sequence in the that we saw that I was showing, I mean, black still can't connect the way black did. Now, black could technically connect like this, but getting white this potent key would be pretty nice. And there's still threats for a ko. So, yeah, black just extends up, turns, and then plays here. Now, I'm curious about how valuable this move is because white is already basically alive. Like, when black goes here, white extends, and this really hurts black's upper right. If black goes elsewhere and white gets... Whether white directly plays at the shape point here and makes this kind of shape, we can see black is very weak here. Or maybe white will choose this way, and if black gives up, then once again, white is very happy. So basically exchanging f15 for white to get m17 feels pretty bad for black. So my question is, can black surround the stone or even start to surround it in a more sente way? And I think there is. So I think black can play here. And if white simply just blocks, black can then play here. And if white connects, now black has actually already fixed the weakness there. And then black could maybe extend here. But let's say white bumps here, right? Well, we plan on giving up this stone, so while it's on the board, let's Atari. And now, just go elsewhere. Even still extend, or maybe push here. Because if white wants to cut here in Gote, let white. If white was going to live anyways, you can get 2 moves elsewhere. So I don't think it's really worth it for black to try to save these 2 stones here when it forces white to extend here. So I think black should try to find a more sente way to fix it. Something like this maybe. And yeah, now you can leave it. Now you can leave it. And even if you don't want to leave it, maybe now you can connect. And now white's corner has worse aji. Let's say white extends still. Well, now you can cut and descend. And now there's a lot of bad aji in the corner. White's going to win any semi-eye here. But we're going to be able to seal white in with this kind of shoulder hit. Which you see black tries this later, but it will not work as well when black plays here. So I think this just feels a little slow compared to what white's getting. Like black is just capturing 1 stone, which is not worth that much. Which begs the question of, should black have gone here immediately? Maybe not. But black extends here. This is a little mistake. Black can Hane first. If I stand up, then black connects, and I'm actually weaker than black is. But if I cut, then black can cover, and now this is threatening K18. So this is a perfect example of my opponent's key move is my key move, where black could have went here, and yeah, if white Hanes, you can still just extend, and something like this, right? Yes. White Hanes, but now you don't have a time to play that move, and now white's base is a lot bigger. And then black extends back. Yep, that makes sense. Again, black needs to do something about this upper right. And then I come in. Again, still trying to put pressure on the upper right, so black descends, and then I just jump. And there's probably more fast moves I can play, better fast moves I can play. But this felt okay. This felt okay. And black actually caps, and I don't hate the idea with this move. Yeah, I don't hate the idea with this move, because you gotta ask yourself, where white definitely has more cash, right? White has 3 corners, a side, whereas black has maybe a little bit in the lower right, a little bit here, but that's it. So black definitely has thickness in this game, though. So how can black make points? So black decides I can make points in the center. So I attach again. The key here is look how white does not get heavy. Now white ends up getting heavy, but that's based on how black plays, and I'll show you what I mean. So here, if I was worried, if I treated this move as sente, let's say I go elsewhere. If I had treated this move as sente, then my way of getting out is a lot more cramped, right? This is the only way I could play, and this would be what black wants. Because if black can get all of this in Sente, one, I'm still not even connected, but even if I could connect, look at the thickness black can get in the center, right? Obviously, black needs to help the right side, but the point still stands. Even in some cases, black can just push here. And you can see white gets very heavy. So one, when you invade, notice I have no friends nearby. I'm surrounded by black stones. This is the perfect time to tell myself to stay light. So I was not treating this move as Sente. So when black does play there, I bump. And if black wanted to take the stone, I would let black. I would let black, even Atari once. Right? Black takes the right side, but black was going to get the right side anyways. But black Hane's back and gives me bamboo joint. And so then black jumps. And then I Hane, black extends, extend again. And then black peeps. So this is when black gets a little too peep happy. This peep is okay. This one not so much. Because this forces me to connect. But remember, black could have pushed and cut here. So black actually loses Aji by forcing me to connect here. And black might think black is helping the corner, but not so much. If we imagine white's already alive, there's still a lot of bad Aji in that lower right corner. And when black loses the Aji of being able to push and cut here, black now needs to worry about the right side potentially, because now black can't just cut the stone at R8 and live. So I'm not so sure about these two. This first peep is okay, I think. But this one, definitely not a good move. Forces me to connect. Black Hanes. Black pulls back. And then attach. This is a very nice move. And this is, again, kind of asking black, what do you want? So, obviously, I could play this and stay connected. But I don't know if I want to make this exchange at O11. Because it's just me pushing from behind. And my shape still gets destroyed, right? So I ask black first by attaching here. If black cuts me, I now will push. If black bumps, I will then play O11. But if black Hanes, then I can pull back, and now I'm even threatening to clamp or Hane. So this is a very good order of moves. So if you know you want to play a move, like I want to play this one, right? Like no matter what happens, I'm going to attach here. Ask first with that move to see how your opponent plays. If black bumps this way, then I'm going to bump, Atari, and I can even capture some stones here if I want to. So, yeah. That's the idea with this move. Black Hanes pulls back and then stands up. And then I take the shape point of these stones. And again, this is where black's poke here was not so good, because now black is surrounded. Black can't just capture at R8 now, or capture the stone at R8. Black bumps. Yeah, this is a little too much. Like, black just is going to give it up, so why not just give it up by going here? When you force me to bump, now your base is actually worse. Black plays it. And again, this move is okay, but the problem I see with this move is, like, you could Atari and then Atari, and now your base is big enough, and you can probably live. Black doesn't want to do that, though, because maybe later black can cut here, like this. I think, though, this move is fine, but just make this cut right now. Because right now, the only way for white to answer this cut is by taking here. But if you wait too long, and you'll see I end up, let's say black goes elsewhere. If I cut, and then you cut, now I can answer by capturing. So while this stone is on the board, black should cut here. Even if black plans on leaving it. Because it forced me to play a move on the inside. Whereas again, if you wait, now I can play a move I would have to play anyways, and I don't waste a move at T17. This is a very minor order of moves things, but I think it is important, because you'll see I very quickly, maybe not super quickly, but I do end up playing S14. So going back to way earlier with how black should have handled this upper left, notice how black gives me this move. So even in this case, black can simply play here. And it works even better now that black has already played F15. Like, white can't Atari because black's going to Atari through. And playing here doesn't really help white's, or doesn't really threaten black anymore. And so now if black plays back, there's a big difference. Because now, when white tries to poke through, black's shape is impenetrable. But by not making that exchange and allowing me to get this peep, now white isn't going to push here. Instead, white can play this very fancy move, kind of threaten to connect either way. And so now white's a lot harder to seal in. White's a lot harder to seal in. So that for endgame purposes, it's just a lot better to make this exchange. But again, now I know black wants the center, so I ask, okay, black, are you going to answer this move? Black says, yes, I will. But then I come back and cut. And then black attaches. It starts a ko here. But black's ko threat is just threatening to connect. And I say, well, that's not really a ko threat. Because one, I am now fixing my right side group. Right? My group is technically not fully alive. But by playing this, I get an I for sure. And if I need to, I can play S5 or R6. Like I have a lot of ways to make two I's now, even Atari here. And remember these two stones black played? Well, now that I'm super strong with my Ponuki shape on the right side, now the lower right corner has a lot more bad aji for black. And then I hane, black cuts, I Atari, and pull back. And black does something that surprised me during the game, but when I was thinking about it more, it's like, okay, that makes sense. Is black actually just resigns here? Like, I was expecting like 50 more moves of this game, but black just resigns here. And again, at the time, I was surprised, but as I looked up the game, I was like, yeah, I guess white has too many points. Again, when you look at the upper right, that's pretty big. Upper left's big. Lower left is big. Black's only real territory is the center, and again, that's going to get diminished with moves, with what's happening right here, but also moves such as E14, as this center is not super big. It's not super big. So, yeah, it actually makes sense for black to resign right here, although it did catch me off guard when I was playing. But yeah, black resigns here, and yeah, that means I win match 8 and put my record at 8-0 in this event. And again, I was very pleased. This game I was pleased with because I feel like I did play well this game. It wasn't my opponent making a horrible mistake that allowed me to win. It was more me just playing well. So I was happy about that. But yeah, if you have any questions about this game, please let me know in the comments. And I'll see you all for the next video, which will be the final match. And we'll see if I can go 9-0 in this event for my final match. But yes, leave a comment. I try to read them all, and I'll see you all in the next video.